this mountain, I look down and see a world I was once underneath. I stand on this mountain and I look down. My mind knows more than it once knew. Then I knew. Then I knew. Then I knew. Then I knew. Now you're here. You're here. You're there. Now everywhere with me. If this is lost, then there's no place I'd rather be than found me see. Found me see. I climb down this mountain and I look around to see that everyone used to be me. I climb down this mountain and I look around, my mind embracing more than the truth, than the truth, than the truth, than the truth, than the truth. Now you're here, you're here, you're there. Now everywhere with me. If this is lost, then there's no place I'd rather be. Found me sing. Found me sing. I once was blind, but now I see the beauty of the world before me. Now you're there. Now everywhere with me. If this is lost, then there's no place I'd rather be. Now you're here, you're there. Now everywhere with me. If this is lost, then there's no place I'd rather be than found me sing. Found me sing. Found me sing. Found me sing.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. We will have some special guests that are joining us here tonight. We are going to be covering the case of Sara Ebersole. She is missing out of Ocala, Florida. It's actually Reddick, Florida, which is a little town outside of Ocala. Everybody that's new here, welcome in. Thank you so much. Sorry, Avery. It's probably a little blurry because I had to redo the video. I had to take out the group that we shall not names flyers out of the video, so I'll try to redo it, see if I can't get some better quality there. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm going to go ahead and pull our special guest up tonight. And remember, as always, we are always respectful over here. Dandy is my only mod in chat. She is pretty friendly, but we want to make sure that we do stay respectful. This is a controversial case with a lot of information, so I'm honored to have our guest here tonight. And I'll go ahead and add everybody to the stage. Welcome in, Kyle. Welcome in, ChatGPT.
How you doing?
How are you?
Doing good. How are y'all this evening?
Good.
Oh, you know, it just started pouring down rain right before we started this, so I think that's a good sign, right?
Oh, wow. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it rained like all night last night, and then it was raining earlier when I took my littles out. And the big dog, he doesn't care. The littles are like, yeah, no, we pee at light speed. Guys, ChatGPT is from TikTok, so make sure that you guys do go over and follow her. I am banned on my backup, so I can't share her link in here, but I will grab it, send it to myself, and put it in my description. It is In a Pickle on TikTok. She does some great work over there, so we do want to make sure we show her some love. Kyle can be found on Facebook. He is a local investigative reporter that does amazing work. I actually met Kyle through the hoax Amber Alert.
Ah, yes, Cadence Bait.
Out of Ocala. And you guys know that we covered that extensively. I went 2 days on no sleep.
Yeah, same here.
Cons going on and everything under the eyes. So it was crazy. I'm going to go ahead and bring her flyer up, and so that way everybody knows who we are speaking on tonight. Her flyer is available on all of my platforms. You're welcome to screenshot it. If you do not prefer to screenshot, you can send me a message and I will get you a flyer over. If you do send me a message and I don't respond, send me another message and say, hey, did you get my message? Because I'm on 4 different platforms. I run a website, so sometimes I do miss messages. Let me get this removed so it doesn't mess with the swamp signal. All right, so this is Sara Ebersole. She is, as I said, missing out of Ocala, Florida. Guys, she's been missing since March the 3rd, 2023. She's a female. She was age 26 at the time of her missing. She's roughly 29 now, 120 pounds, 5 foot tall, blonde hair and blue eyes. She was last seen wearing, and this comes from the FDLE flyer, so you guys know how their flyers are. It says she had on a black sweater, light colored shirt with sequined black pants or a skirt. And I have a mistype in that. I'll fix the flyer. And a tattoo of Cocopelli on her lower right hip. So this is not the actual tattoo. The picture is for reference in case people don't know who Cocopelli is.
I got two bags of rocks and stuff. If you guys want to go through, it's all Christmas stuff. If you want any of it, if you don't, throw it away.
Take my second screen down.
It's really cute.
Yeah, just set it right there.
Sorry about that.
Well, you might get some as gifts, you know.
All right, ChatGPT, do you want to jump in with how you became familiar with Sara's case and share some information with us tonight?
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Following another case live on TikTok, and I had a friend of Sarah's reach out to me. Actually, I had a couple friends of Sarah's reach out to me and give me her name and her sister's name, and ask me if I would look into her case. And I said, of course, absolutely. And I had another case that was right close to Ocala, Florida. So we 2 nights ago deep dived into that area. And Sarah's case we hit first. And Sarah, being a dancer at the time, really hit home. As a retired dancer myself, I feel like she got lost in the law enforcement system. I feel like she was lost, and I feel like we just need to get some awareness out there, and we need to bring her home. So I was brought here from people that love her. They gave me her name. That's where I'm here. I'm in Pennsylvania and willing to come to Florida.
That is amazing. And then one of ChatGPT's amazing followers had jumped into one of my lives on TikTok and was like, hey, this girl's missing. Can you look into her case? And that's how I met Chat, which I've seen her in other lives as well, but that's how we kind of got together on this case. Now, Kyle, do you want to tell us about how you found and became part of Sara's case and all the wonderful work that you've done and everything you've put together?
Yeah, so it started actually because of the Cadence Bait case. That we all know, anybody that followed that case knows how horrible the situation was around that, and the circumstances and the outcome that followed. But because of what I did and, staying up and trying to help find him, there were other people that reached out to me on Facebook and they said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Sara Ebersole?" And I said, "Absolutely not." I mean, I just did a report on the Marion County Sheriff's Office, how they have, I think, like 26 confirmed open or cold cases, and a lot of them being missing persons. Well, the situation with Sara Ebersole, like ChatGPT said, is that she was a dancer. And a lot of these missing person reports that are, they live a certain lifestyle, not just Marion County, but also pretty much every sheriff's office in the state of Florida kind of does the bare minimum and overlooks it. So I started looking into it, and what I found when I spoke to Michelle and I did my own research and stuff like that, I started uncovering a lot more. And so I've done one full data report on Sara Ebersole, and then I did an update because of the rushed probate death certificate hearing that just happened. So that's where we are now.
Yeah, and that is mind blowing to me. Watching the sister's video, it literally blew my mind that, generally in other cases, other states, the family, that like the actual biological family is the one that comes forward and says, "Hey, we would like this person pronounced deceased," whereas Marion County has took this upon themselves. And what I find so crazy about this is that this is a missing persons case that's been presumed deceased, but yet her case is still in an open status. What that tells me is Marion County doesn't want to release complete FOIA request.
Well, so, and here's something else. And it's not that Marion County took it upon themselves to do this. That they decided that this was actually started by the ex-boyfriend who is the minor child's father, Joseph Mayton. This was started by him. So that's what the record shows at this time. And like I said, my update on that, I actually have a screenshot of the court docket that lists the judge, the people involved and stuff like that. So this was brought on by Joseph Mayton.
But not her bio family, though, correct?
Correct. Her biological family got no prior knowledge to this hearing. They were not informed of it, from what I understand, and from what court records show, there was nothing sent to them to let them know that this was going to happen.
Okay, so see, the way I read it was that Marion County had initiated it, so it was the child's father.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. So, let me just click on this real quick. So, it says the party name, because I'm looking right at the screenshot of the docket. It's Joseph Mayton, a minor child of and through her father, and then Sarah Gail Vaughan, which is the maiden name, and Sara Gail Ebersole, and then the judge was Bradley E. King.
Okay.
So
and
this
if you
was
want to share your screen, you can request, and I'll let you bring your screen up.
Yeah, that's no problem at all.
Because I'm very new to this, so I appreciate both of you guys being here and helping to advocate for her and all the hard work that both of you guys are doing for her
I
case.
also understood it as he is the one that initiated it as for the death certificate.
Give me just a second. Let me.
So I may have misread or just misfiled who initiated it.
No, I just wanted to let him know that that's the way I interpreted it as well, is that it was, and I find that very alarming and very odd.
Thank you, Mustang. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you all for being here. While Kyle is pulling that up, I'll go ahead. I always like to shout out my chat, let everybody know that you're appreciated for being here. We have Christina in chat here. I believe below here she tells us who she is. It's Georgia Girl from ChatGPT's TikTok. We have Sins and Secrets. Of course, that's Avery for those that y'all don't know. Lisa's in the house. We have Silk Benz in the house today. Yes, here we go. Georgia girl. Thank you for being over here. Appreciate you. We have Jennifer Thompson in chat. Thank you so much for being here as well.
All right, so it's not letting me share the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a link to the report into the private chat, and then if you can do something with it, then that would work.
Let's see.
There's that.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. So let me pull this comment down and pull up the second screen over here. Entire screen. There we go.
Yep, there it is right there.
Here's the document. Let's see if I can. There we go. Make it bigger.
Yeah, so on that you can see that one of the parties that was involved that initiated this was Joseph Mayton.
Okay.
And if you look through the docket lines or the docket items, nowhere does it show that the actual biological family was notified of this hearing.
I don't agree with that at all. That bothers me.
It bothers me too. And the fact that it was a 6-day probate rush. I mean, that's unheard of, especially with somebody being dead less than 5 years with no credible evidence of body or remains. Excuse me. That is the state statute that you have to go by declaring somebody dead that has been missing. You have to have a minimum of 5 years, or what is called let me see. I know the exact wording of it. It's perceived peril is what it is. If you have evidence of perceived peril, i.e. body remains or anything like that, or, showing that they have ceased doing their natural daily functions, coupled with actionable evidence. But, I mean, we're less than 3 years into her missing, and they did 6 days on a death certificate. That's unheard of. That is unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know where it was a local article that I read it in, and now I'm sketched out by what I read by them. It also said that they based this on no bank usage, no social media usage. Like, that just doesn't seem viable to me personally.
Right. Well, I mean, keep scrolling through the report, because after the docket item, we go to what the Marion County, this one right here. Okay, this is a letter sent to the Santi law firm, June 26, 2025, saying that Sara Ebersole's case was still active and open. It says, is handling an active criminal investigation regarding the disappearance of Sara Gail Ebersole. But then you go to the next one, which is the actual, the copy of the death certificate. And then the third document is an actual judicial document saying that Marion County had ended the investigation. So you can't say that it's closed, get a death certificate, while still telling everybody that it's active, and you can't say that it's active and get a death certificate. It's just it's not possible.
Right. Absolutely. It's one of those cases where you go, the math ain't mathin'. Let's see if it didn't pull up this one here. I don't know why it didn't pull it up, but we'll pull it up like this.
Yeah, so, it says that they have worked to receive leads, and that they've unfortunately not gotten anything, and they're closing it. It's so what is it? Is it open or is it closed? Is it active or is it a cold case? You get a death certificate, that means it should be closed. That means that investigators like myself should be able to get the remaining 185 documents that they refuse to let the public see.
Absolutely. And then the wording here, missing person or homicide investigation.
Exactly. They never classified it as either. And if you look at the death certificate, it says for cause of death, remains found, it all says none. It is completely blank. It is the blankest death certificate that I have ever seen.
Dandy says Saduki, I'm going to mispronounce that, Kanaki, missing Dominican Republic in March 2025 during spring break. Her parents formally requested that the authorities declare her deceased after nearly 2 weeks. That's crazy. That is sus. And see, look at Oakley Carlson, how many years they waited to do that. And, I thought it was very, very unprofessional of them not to reach out to the adoptive parents that loved her so dearly and have fought for justice for her. They weren't even notified. So this is not the first case I've seen where, per se, family, in my opinion, was not a part of someone being presumed deceased. It's disturbing.
I'm also going to share the first report that I wrote into the private chat, so you can share it into the comments, so that way people can read it and actually get to know, because there's a lot of information in this first one that the public, unless you actually dig deep, doesn't actually see. So
okay. And if you're okay, are you okay with after the live, I always like to drop the source links into the description so people are able to access those?
Yeah, absolutely. You can,
Perfect.
I mean, and with my Facebook page, everything that I write is on there anyway. So if anybody gets curious, I mean, if you guys want to read about the 26 open cold cases that that they don't have, or that they haven't been able to solve, or lack thereof, that's on there as well. But this is about Sara Ebersole and the fact that they have done nothing. I mean, it's sad. It really is.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll have your Facebook link, and I'll have ChatGPT's TikTok as well in the description, guys. Make sure you go show them some love, and because it takes all of us. It takes a village. Okay, so we have a missing mother withheld records in Florida Sheriff's Office that will not answer questions. So quickly scroll past that flyer, not out of disrespect for her, but for reasons that many know. When I began reviewing the records of this report, I did not expect to feel anything. 2 years after the file, requests, public statements, interviews, timelines, and media coverage had already built a familiar numbness around this case. But halfway through reading the same redacted pages and same withheld documents that have sat behind the same institutional walls for years, something hit me hard. My stomach dropped, my chest tightened, and I realized that something that should not be true. I should not be writing this, not almost 3 years later, not after national coverage, regional coverage, local coverage, and repeated anniversaries that have come and gone without resolution. Not after the countless headlines, the public pleas, the television segments, and the national true crime broadcast. After everything, we are no closer to finding Sara Gail Ebersole today than we are the night she vanished. And the reason is not lack of attention. It is lack of transparency. The story is a missing mother. It is a story of a sheriff's office that refused to let the public see what's inside its own investigative file. Who was Sara Gail Ebersole? Before the timelines, before the court documents, before the redactions and the unanswered questions, it is important to say this plainly. Sara was not a case file. She was not an entry of a CAD log. She was not the name pulled from a property sheet or a footnote in a redacted report. She was a person with a full and vivid life. People knew her, described her as someone who moved through the world with openness that is rare. She was outgoing in a way that surpassed the usual meaning, more than a social butterfly. She had a way of seeing the good in people first. She liked meeting strangers, learning who they were, and giving them a chance, even when others might not. She was spontaneous. One moment she could be on a jet ski chasing the thrill of the water, and the next she could be sitting with someone who had nothing, handing over every dollar she'd earned that day simply because she believed kindness mattered more than keeping it to herself. And at the center of everything was her daughter. No matter how unpredictable and adventurous her days were, motherhood was the place that she always returned to. Her child was an anchor and a priority. People close to Sarah also describe a period in her life marked by fear, intimidation, emotional distress. The details surrounding those fears are a part of a larger legal proceeding that have spoke for themselves. But what can be said is that Sarah lived through circumstances that caused her considerable anxiety and unease. Those who loved her saw it, they felt it, and they worried about her constantly. Her compassion never faded. She believed people acted out of wounds they carried. She believed that no one should be judged for how they looked, what job they worked, or where they came from. She gave every chance, every win that softness left her vulnerable. She also had a family connection that was complicated, deep, and filled with love. She had someone who searched for her for long before they ever met, someone who became a protective figure in her life the moment that she let them in. Their relationship began cautiously, then grew into something more typical than siblings. They shared spontaneous beach trips together, adventures with her kids, moments of parenting, sisterhood blending together. In every meaningful way, Sarah was not just a sister. She was like a daughter, a person deeply loved and fiercely protected. This is who went missing. This is who has not been found. This is a whole 185 withheld pages are about a woman who loved freely, trusted easy, and deserved a system that fought for her with the same devotion she showed the world. A woman missing, a file no one can fully see. The Marion County Sheriff's Office, also known as the MCSO, initially released 31 pages from the investigative file that totals 216 pages, less than 15% of the record. What is missing from the release? Every investigative supplement, every detective narrative, every witness interview, scene processing notes, lead sheets, follow-ups, internal communications, digital forensic notes, documentation of which tips were pursued and which were dismissed. Instead, what the public received amount to a timeline, to an outline, a few incident summary pages, and partial property log, a bare timeline redaction of labeling entire sections as active criminal intelligence. Under Florida law, agencies are required to release all non-exempt portions of public records, and when labor is involved, they must charge based on the lowest paid employee qualified to perform the task. Downloading a PDF does not require a highly paid IT specialist, yet MCSO insists that accessing the remaining 185 pages demands exactly that. The result of it is the investigation to the public cannot evaluate a missing person whose story remains incomplete because the agency responsible for finding her refuses to release the record of what was done. What the release pages do show. Even in their limited form, the 31 pages reveal two clear facts. MCSO has treated the case as an active criminal intelligence. Nearly all redactions cite the same rationale. Second, the names of individuals close to Sarah appear repeatedly. One name appears far more frequently than the rest. The released records tell us enough to understand the outline of the investigation. They do tell us that whether the investigation was thorough, timely, or properly, they do not tell us, whether the investigation was thorough, timely, or properly conducted. And that matters because MCSO's silence exists in a sharp contrast to nothing else. This is third, a case that received wide media coverage for years. The investigation has not been obscured, the disappearance has not been ignored, and the family has not been silent. Coverage became immediately and has continued through anniversaries, new leads, and national broadcasts. Traditional.
So I wanna stop right there for just a second because this case, Sara Ebersole, has been covered by Nancy Grace. The literal true crime queen herself has covered this story extensively, and yet still nothing has been found. And we'll talk more about this in the rest of the story. But that's what I wanted to add in.
Yeah, absolutely. The local news regional stations have consistently reported on her case since 2023. Ocala Gazette published a comprehensive investigative report in April of 2025 examining her last known movements and the stalled investigation. I'll include that as well. I have it in my Discord. If you're a part of my Discord, which is open to everybody, I don't have members or you don't have to meet a criteria. It is in there as well, and I will move it to a public tab after the live. But I do have some other links that I want to share as well as Kyle's links in there. Okay, Fox 35 Orlando covered the 2-year anniversary, which detailed recaps of family interviews. WFTV highlighted the first-year mark, emphasizing the personal interest in the family's frustration. NBC News and Dateline featured the case in 2024, including surveillance, analysis, and family interviews. Nancy Grace featured the case multiple times with a full episode of Sarah's sister analyzing the crime. Podcasts and online investigations. Missing Persons podcast dedicated their full episode of her timeline. Crime Stories with Nancy Grace had an additional podcast and coverage in 2025. True crime websites, independent investigators have reconstructed detailed timelines using public data, family statements, and released records. Community discussions and online archives. Reddit's, which is the R if you're on Reddit, Unsolved Mysteries hosted multiple threads analyzing the evidence and questioning the sheriff's handling of the case. Crime Timelines compiled a multi-year timeline with the document references. Blogs, Facebook advocacy groups, and local community pages continue to amplify the case. The case has been discussed by journalists, attorneys, investigators, podcasters, and national audiences. And still, 5 years later, the public has only seen the 31 pages. Silence is not a result of lack of attention. Documented presence of Joseph Marilyn Manton.
Merlin.
How do you pronounce it? Merlin?
It's Joseph Merlin Mayton. And this
Mayton.
name...
I had never seen his middle name till now.
I know, it's really weird, but that's besides the point. This is not saying that he did it. This is just letting the public know who Joseph Mayton is, because this is important.
The father of Sarah's child, a former hotel manager in Ocala, a licensed Florida real estate agent. Well, he's got his hands in everything. The
Yes, he
defendant
does.
in a 2020 family court case filed by Sarah. The subject of a 2014 CAD report describing him as a possibly wanted on the run. The defendant in a 2023 eviction case, the petitioner in a 2024 Chapter 13 bankruptcy, a person with multiple residences and addresses across Florida counties, a recurring figure on public advocacy timelines documenting a timeline surrounding Sarah's disappearance. These are not accusations, these are factual records. A pattern emerges not of guilt, but of relevance. A person whose life intersected with Sarah legally, personally, domestically, and geographically. And yet, from the available documents, it is impossible to determine how fully or deeply MCSO examined those intersections, because the pages that address interviews, follow-ups, and key investigations decisions remain withheld. But yet they made his picture public.
Yes, but if you actually go and Google him, he's pretty much scrubbed from the internet. His arrest for assault on an elderly person, you can't find that anywhere. He's paid really good money, wherever he found it, to cover his trail. It took a lot to find his everything on him, and we're still finding out more stuff about him as we speak. So.
And it's sad because, victims, especially in cases like this, it seems like the victims have no rights and the perpetrator can just do whatever they want.
Absolutely. And once again, I am not saying that he is the perpetrator. I am just saying that he is somebody that has not been looked into fully the way he should be concerning the missing person.
Absolutely. I have disclaimers on here. There's a disclaimer in the description for anybody that's lurking in the bushes that states that this is fair use and it's also under opinions that are based on factuals.
That's right.
But it's in the description for legality purposes.
Try to quote me. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
And the 2014 CAD report, a warning that vanished into the archive. That's amazing. One computer aided dispatch from 2014 stands out. Ocala reported that Mayton was on the run, possibly wanted, behaving in concerning ways. There was no arrest and no visible resolution. Whether the report resurfaced in 2023 when Sarah vanished is unknown, because the investigative supplements that would show the detective's process sit inside the missing 185 pages. The March 2023 arrest that should have raised questions publicly available posts, timelines, advocacy reports describe an incident in which Mayton was arrested on March 29, 2023, while employed as the manager of Ocala Suites. He was accused of battering a 75-year-old hotel guest. No mugshot appears in the public databases. There is no accessible court record. Yet the incident appears in multiple independent sources suggesting law enforcement responded and arrest occurred. The event was significant enough to become public knowledge. In any missing persons case, investigators cross-reference incidents involving those closest to the victim. Whether that happened is unclear, because the documentation that would answer the question is not part of the 31 pages of the MCSO released. Wow. That's
Yeah.
That is mind-blowing.
And it gets worse.
The eviction, the bankruptcy, and the pattern of instability. Court filings show in 2023 an eviction, 2024 Chapter 13 bankruptcy, frequent address changes across counties, employment in a hotel management and automotive sales, a documented Sarasota County resident. Individually, these do not imply criminality. Collectively, they paint a picture of instability. Instability is relevant in a missing persons investigation because it affects timelines, contact patterns, and access to property and relational dynamics. Did MCSO contextualize these? The public cannot know. Those pages are still withheld.
So something on that as well. He has, I've tracked him from Sarasota County all the way up to the Panhandle, through Kentucky, Indiana. He has moved multiple times over the last 2 years since Sarah's disappearance.
And ChatGPT in your live earlier, weren't y'all talking about how he's got ties to other states as well?
He was in Kentucky, Indiana, and back in Florida.
Right. Yeah. He actually had a mother that lived, I believe, in Kentucky. And there are reports, I believe her name is Maddie Mayton or Hattie Mayton. I'm not really sure at that, or at the name, but it's documented that she is related to him because of a federal court filing in which she was hurt and filed for federal unemployment.
Do we know what part of Kentucky? Just out of curiosity.
I'm not really sure, because when you look at it, it says Indiana, Kentucky. So I'm like 90% sure it's probably somewhere on the border to where both states can pick up that kind of stuff.
Like Louisville type area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good old Louisville.
The only reason I'm originally from Kentucky, so that's the only reason why I asked.
Well, I'm originally from Indiana, so I get it. I don't want no weird shit happening in my state.
He can move wherever, he can be found anywhere he goes. It's shady. Exactly. And it also stops from, like, if he was at a residence here in Florida and that residence changes hands and there was evidence, it's gone now. It's not like they can go back and find, untampered with evidence.
Right. Well, it's not like they will, because they've proved time and time again that they have no interest actually doing an investigation on this case. They wanted it out of their hands as quick as possible. So.
Right. And anybody that's from around knows my opinion of Marion County. It's not high at all.
Yeah.
There's a whole documentary out there. It will infuriate you if you watch it. And it is about Marion County and how a whole neighborhood situation was completely ignored and not handled correctly. And a mother of some beautiful little children ended up losing her life to a crazy woman that they knew murdered this lady. And
I know.
this is off subject, but I'm on a rant here, so I apologize,
Nope,
guys.
nope. I know it. I know exactly what case you're talking about, and I watched the whole Netflix documentary. And if anybody, I mean, Netflix really went for, you know, what a monster this woman was, but what they really showed was the incompetence of Marion County Sheriff's Office without even knowing it.
Exactly. I mean, this lady murdered a woman, took her in for questioning, knowing she murdered this lady, and they took her home. And I don't mean like called an Uber and paid for her way home. I mean, they took this woman home, and she was an absolute tyrant of the neighborhood. Side note, just for context, of Marion County Sheriff's Department.
Well, I mean, I've talked to you about my own case with the fraudulent child support case out of Marion County. They refuse to do nothing about it. I'm at a federal level now dealing with this because of Marion County. So it's not just, you know, certain cases. It's not just they refuse to do missing persons investigations. You know, they refuse to lock up a woman who needs it. It's overall systemic incompetence of a whole entire department, all under the rule of Billy Woods.
Exactly.
How you doing, bud?
Hello, in case you're in the bushes.
Yeah.
Over here, unlike TikTok, you
This
can lurk
this
in the
will
bushes over here, but you can't lurk in the bushes over there, because once you click enter live, your name comes up. So you
listen.
get busted.
This will definitely be in the sheriff's office inbox by the end of the live, so you don't have to worry about that. They love me over there.
Sarah's sister trying to get a reinvestigation. Sarah's sister has to be very careful what she says and does due to legality purposes, which I find extremely sad and infuriating.
Exactly. Hey, well, you know what? If we keep reading, we'll get right into that thing that can't be talked about.
Yeah, it's infuriating. Like, I showed the video she had done on my TikTok the other day, and when I very first had the case brought up to my attention, and I have to filter over there. We're not allowed to use big adult words over there, so I had to be very careful about what I wanted to say. ChatGPT, you still hanging in there with us down there, honey?
I sure am.
Okay, if you ever want to say anything, as our great Nancy says, this isn't high tea at the Windsor. You can jump right in.
Okay. I'm here, and if I have something to add, I will.
Perfect.
Sorry, I'll start raising my hand before I speak from now on.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. You ain't got to do all that around here.
Excuse me, teacher.
I'm pretty chill. Hopefully everybody doesn't mind my country accent as I read all this. Christina said then stayed with her while she packed her bags to leave her home and be safe like she wasn't. Yeah, that it just infuriated me. I think that's the one and only time I've ever watched a Netflix documentary and screamed at my TV.
I do that every single time I have to review a case from Marion County. I will sit here and I will yell at my laptop because it's ridiculous. I mean, while we're in a little bit of an intermission, like I said, I just recently did a report on 26 confirmed cold cases that they have done nothing about. So once again, this isn't just about one person or, you know, a couple people. This report that I did shows systemic incompetence of investigation for a whole department, and I'll leave the link in the private so that way you can share it as well, because that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of times, especially with these missing person cases, it's great that we have people like you and like ChatGPT and myself and so many others that go down the proverbial rabbit hole, and you find all these other cases and links to different things, and you're, 3 hours later, you're sitting there with a notebook full and your notepad's full, and if you're me, there's a whole Discord channel that's been created, and it's insane. Okay, I'll go ahead and read through the rest of this if we can. The detective who has quietly disappeared from the case. Community members have described an unexpected shift. The original detective assigned to Sarah's case was quietly replaced. And that happens a lot down here in Florida, and I'm going to commentate in between, but I have a missing case, and I'm not going to bring up the name, but I have a missing case that they, at this point, have been through 3 detectives. They get a good detective, or wait a minute, let me take that back. They had a not so good detective, got a phenomenal detective, and now they're back to a detective that doesn't want to answer the phone. So it's a pattern with Florida with missing cases, sadly. Sorry. No announcement, no clarification, no update to the family. The mistake was discovered only when an email intended for the original detective was forwarded to someone new. Detective transitions happen. Silent detective transitions and high-risk, time-sensitive investigations do not. Losing continually means losing progress, and that's so true. But the record explaining this transition is missing, redacted, and withheld. The injunction filed at the same county investigating the case. Court documents show that civilian injunction involving individuals who appear in the border timeline. The injunction was filed in Marion County, the same jurisdiction responsible for investigating Sarah's disappearance. This is not an allegation. It is a question. When a civil order intersects with a criminal investigation involving overlapping individuals, transparency is mandatory. The withheld documents likely address whether the injunction affected communication, access, and the flow of information between parties. The public should not have to guess. The problem with missing pages. MCSO's justification for withholding the pages relies on the claim that accessing them requires the work of a high-paid IT employee. Florida law states the opposite. Fees must be based on a low-paid employee capable of performing the work. Redactions must be narrowly tailored. Non-exempt material must be produced promptly. Withholding 185 pages of a missing woman's case is not simply a bureaucratic decision. It is an obstruction of public oversight. With those pages, the public cannot know which witnesses were interviewed, which individuals were cleared, which leads were followed, which leads were ignored, why a detective was replaced, whether conflicts of interest were addressed, whether basic investigative standards were met. 2 years later, the family still does not know these answers, and neither does the public. The questions Marion County does not want to answer. From publicly available information alone, several unavoidable questions emerge. Why does MCSO release only 31 of 216 pages? Why does the justification for withholding the remaining pages contradict Florida statute? Why was a detective removed from the public with the public's no acknowledgement? Were individuals closest to Sarah thoroughly investigated? Why do available documents show gaps in interviews, follow-ups, and scene processing? What information exists in the missing pages, and why the sheriff's office determined to withhold it? These are not accusations. These are questions raised by the record itself. Questions that an agency confident in its work would answer without hesitation. Transparency is not optional. It is the law. A missing mother deserves a complete investigation. Her family deserves truthful account of what was done and what was not. The public deserves access to the records that Florida law says must be released. The 185 missing pages matter. The detective shift matters. The public court filings matter. The 2 years of unanswered questions matter. Sara Ebersole mattered, and she still matters. The truth about what happened to her buried somewhere inside the pages of the Marion County Sheriff's Office refuses to release. And until those pages are made public, the silence continues and protect the wrong people. And there's their office, just in case anybody wanted to see it. And this was written by Uncovered Investigates. Thank you, sir, for all you do.
You're absolutely welcome.
Welcome in
Yeah,
everybody that popped in.
it's just like I've said over and over again. It's horrendous the way that they've handled this case. I mean, at what point do you just stop thinking about the biases of lifestyle choices or what they do for work or anything like that, and just decide to locate a missing person, not just a missing person, a missing mother, a missing sister, a missing daughter. At what point do we start to understand that that is who we're looking for? Not somebody who is a dancer, not somebody who is a druggie, but a mother, a daughter, all these different people. That is one. That's who we need to look for. Not do it because of where they worked, or what they did, or who they hung out with.
Exactly. And sadly we see that so often as lifestyles, drug addiction, even the unhoused. They're not taken seriously by law enforcement.
And I can't agree with that more.
And we have a welcome Energizer. We also have children that are deemed runaways.
I have a couple of things that really bother me about him. That March 29th, after she went missing, he had made the statement that she wasn't alive anymore. And I feel like that is a key factor into should have been looked into more. I don't know if you heard that, Kyle. But that was brought to my attention.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. Unfortunately, because of what I do, it's all fact based and record based. Because I couldn't independently verify that, I couldn't add that. But yes, that is something that I've heard. It's something that I've been told multiple times. I was also told that the day that he punched the 75-year-old, he apparently took off in his car, driving erratically, wrecked it, and was shouting like a madman about Sara being dead or being gone, and stuff like that. So it's not that he didn't say it. It's just the fact that I didn't have something on record being able. Yeah.
Completely understandable. Did you also hear about the claims of, and again, these are claims that were brought to my attention, of the child abuse that is going on with her daughter?
Yeah. And once again, it's unverified.
Right.
When she talked about the 2014 CAD report,
Right.
that referenced something about what the caller thought was sexual abuse of a child. It didn't say who the child was thought to be or anything like that, but it was the full CAD report was pretty much them calling him, actually not pretty much, word for word, calling him a pedophile.
Okay.
So
one of
for
the hotels that
claims,
he was in.
the Ocala Suites.
Well, no, I don't know if it was that one, but there was a housekeeper that had supposedly seen her tied up while he was working. Did you hear that claim?
I have heard that claim. Once again,
Again, these are just claims, and I'm just wondering if you've heard these things that I had recently they've been recently brought to my attention, and I understand they're just claims and you can't put them in your report.
Right. Yeah. No. I will say here, and I will say yes or no whether I've heard the claim. But that is all I will do if it's just a claim or unverified. But
right.
if
I'm
I've heard
very
it,
big about making sure it's factual evidence. If we're putting out factual evidence, if we're saying it's factual, it needs to be verified.
Absolutely.
Over on my TikTok page. Like, if it's a speculation and I'm saying, okay, this is, my opinion, then I'm going to say it's an opinion.
Right.
I don't want an opinion to be misconstrued as factual.
Absolutely.
Because that's where things get confused and that's where theories run off and people come up with a million different things.
Well, and
So
not only that, but that's where as people covering this, whether you consider yourself an independent journalist or investigative reporter, whatever you are, once you start adding unverified claims, you also set yourself up to be held liable for any defamation cases. So, yeah, it's always good to say to speak about the claims, but also to make sure that everybody knows that, hey, they are unverified. This is nothing that has been proven by law enforcement, but it
just
is definitely something that's been said.
it's all very, very alarming to me, I guess. And if I was a law enforcement agent, and again, this is just me, but if I was a law enforcement agent, I would think I would be looking more into them.
You're absolutely right, and a lot of people are talking about Tyrone Mormon specifically,
As the last
and
person that saw her.
and solely just him alone, and they bring up the fact that he was arrested on false information charges that still has nothing to do directly with saying that he killed her or helped in her disappearance. And again, this is my personal opinion, not backed by anything legal. What happened to Sara, I feel, had to involve more than one person. That is all I'll say. I'm not going to name names or blame anybody because that's not my job. That is what law enforcement is paid to do. That's what we pay them to do, is to figure this shit out. And well, now the public has to ask these questions, and it's up to law enforcement to verify these claims.
Correct. Hi, Energizer.
Hello.
Welcome in.
Thank you. Sorry it took me a minute. I've been a little busy.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'll include everything that we went over and links in the description. And I'll have Kyle's Facebook in there and both of your guys' TikToks as well in the description. Guys, as I said earlier on, make sure you follow everybody. Do all the things. Show the love, because these are the people that are out here doing the damn thing. And we want to make sure that we bring love, attention, and awareness to people that take time away from their families and their real life to be there for these missing people and these missing people's families, these murder cases, unsolved cases, cold cases, all the things. It's heartbreaking to me. It's absolutely heartbreaking that her sister has just been such a voice and then has been silenced.
Kind of shunned out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she can speak about the case in detail, but she's not allowed to speak about that one person. Which, I mean, I have done everything I can to try and remove him from being a person of interest, but everything that I keep finding and everything that I keep hearing, everything that keeps being brought to me, it's hard to say, yeah, no, he shouldn't be looked at. It's no, he really does need to be looked at. And Marion County has actually helped with making sure that he doesn't have to answer any questions. I mean, they sped the probate death certificate process along 6 days. Once again, like I said in the beginning, that's unheard of. So, it's one thing to say, oh, this is defamation and, here's a restraining order. But everything she said was factual. And so seeing as how she can't speak about it, I can and I will.
And I can and I will.
Exactly. And when I listened to her video, that's almost verbatim what I said was, she can't, but I can. And this
exactly.
And networking is made.
It's really, really easy to silence just one person, but it is a whole lot harder to silence people who consider themselves investigative journalists or reporters or any type of news media, because we have certain protections under the law. So
ChatGPT, we lost you, honey. That link is pinned to the top of the chat. If you just hit that link, it'll bring you back up, love. Oh, it says devices. Okay. Let me put up a...
I don't know what happened.
It's
I'm back.
StreamYard. It's
Hey,
StreamYard.
we can-
Sometimes it throws you
we
off
can
the front
And now you
porch.
can see me.
we can see you now. It's wonderful.
I have a clip.
I'm not familiar with
Kind of
StreamYard,
breaks-
so
Yeah, no, I totally understand. You know, when I first came over to TikTok, if you look back on my feed, I've been over there for several years, but I was like, I don't like this. I don't like the platform. I don't like the way it works. I'm not going to do this. So I got to, I base my home base over here. And then a lot of my families use TikTok to advocate for their loved ones. They've started channels and pages over there. I'm so used to channels. They've started pages over there. So I had to put my big girl panties on and learn how to use TikTok. And now I love it. And I'm barely over here. But I try to do my
this is
Sunday
the
night
first time
lives.
I've ever been on YouTube. So that's why I'm like real stand back-ish and like, what am I doing?
No,
Well-
you're doing great.
I don't like TikTok, so I'm only on YouTube. That's it. It's nope. I'm sorry. It might be because I'm old. I just do not like TikTok. They denied one video. They cut the video off and said that nope, the public couldn't see it one time. And I appealed it because it was nothing bad. And they were like, nope, not gonna happen. And I was like, well, I'm done with you then.
I get restrictions every night. Now that could be because of me.
So I
tend
got
to.
a question for Kyle real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so when
No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed.
Yeah, no, I'll just shut up. I'm sorry.
No, everybody else has asked questions. You're not allowed to ask.
When people put in FOIA requests or requests for public records and things like that, as it regards to a case, and we've seen it in other cases where things might be redacted or taken out or blacked out of the case. Do they do it for privacy of the defendant, or what would that be? Because some of it could be very vital information for the case to help solve it.
So usually the parts that they redact are like social security numbers, date of birth, anything that's considered a personal identifier. And then further into that, if anything is considered part of their active intelligence investigation, they will redact or withhold. They are allowed to legally under Florida law. But as it pertains to Sarah's case, there is nothing that they should be withholding as of now, but yet they still will not. They still won't accept any FOIA request for the remaining 185 pages. They try to, stand behind a wall and say, oh, well, you have to pay, I think they quoted me $114 for the remaining 185 pages for technical IT work.
Don't quote me on it. I did some digging earlier this afternoon, and I think I was quoted like 215.
Yeah, exactly. But legally, if there's a death certificate, which this case now has, they should be releasing those pages without anybody having to pay anything. But they're not. They're still saying it's an active investigation.
Right, and it's not like they're sending you copies. It's not like you're paying for ink and paper. This is literally an electronic transfer.
Exactly.
Do you think it's possible that they're calling it an active investigation because they still don't have a body yet?
Well, that would make sense if they hadn't already gotten a death certificate. You see what I mean? So once the state of Florida says once you get a death certificate in a missing persons case, that case is then closed. They said in their own memo to a judicial memo that I have in the second report, the update, that they considered it a closed investigation back in, I think, 2023. But then 2025, they send a letter to an attorney saying that it's an open investigation, and then a few months later, they rush a probate hearing to get a death certificate. Technically, it's closed, but they're still saying it's open because they don't want to release the documents.
That's how I feel too. And sadly, we're seeing that more and more in cases. Is they want to keep the cases open so they don't have to release documentation, just like Danielle Bell out of District 1.
Oh, don't even get me started on her.
Dude,
on her case. Sorry, not her.
Made me, like, I was furious. And I love her sister. I talk to her sister on a regular basis. Like, she's amazing. But they are holding the case open so they don't have to release information. And it's absolutely a crock of shit. I'm going to leave it at that because I'll get on my high horse. And this whole life will take a right turn.
Nope. Because I mean, when you asked me to look into it, I said sure, and I was like, all right, cool. I've done this before. Let me just go hit up their, FOIA page, and I don't think I've ever been put in such a internal department loop in my life. I mean, oh no, we don't have that. You need to go to this department. Oh no, we don't have that. Go back to this department. No,
It's a nightmare.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know if you're aware, but the suspect in her case was released this week. And he is an extremely dangerous individual that is now running loose in the state of Florida.
Well, isn't that lovely?
Mm-hmm.
The who was the guy that killed a child, I think in like Alabama, and then relocated down here, and then the Marion County Sheriff's Department arrested him because he decided to relocate to Marion County? This just happened like this year.
Oh, I can't think of his name. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. And the family and the community raised hell, and they come and got him. Was it Alabama or Tennessee?
I can't remember which state,
I think
but
it was Tennessee.
But they can do that, but they can't hold somebody in jail that did horrendous things. They just let them out.
Horrendous things. And is the main number one person of interest and suspect, has been named a suspect in a 14-year-old missing girl that is 99.9% not with us any longer. She's deceased, and whose body still has not been recovered. But let's let him out of jail. Because that's the smart thing to do. To hell with the whole, community. To hell with them. Infuriating. We keep losing people. I'm just to break the monotony, guys. I have a clip that I play when people fall off the porch. This is the front porch. If you're new over here, it's my front porch. The reason I call it my front porch is so we can all get up here and we can rock together and talk about all the things.
Help me. Help me. Here, look right here. I don't think. Help me. Help.
I've done that a few times.
I have to. I love that clip.
Except I believe I had a lot of alcohol in me that time.
Right. Right. Hopefully they'll pop back up in the backstage. I'll watch them. I do have her sister's video though, and I do want to share that just to bring some context as to why myself and Kyle were talking about that she, and Energizer brought it up as well, that she's been silenced, for lack of better words. It may be limited silence, but still that silencing of her voice absolutely infuriates me. Okay, she went to help her son. Hopefully she's still listening. All right, let me add this to the stage. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I got to remove it real quick, guys, because y'all know I'm the world's worst about not sharing the audio. I've been on StreamYard for 5 years and still can't remember to hit the audio button. It should just stay toggled on. They got to be so extra.
Years, 9 months, and 0 days. That Sara Ebersole missing. 1,006 days that my youngest sister has been missing. Sarah was 26 when she went missing. You've seen on social media that she's 29 now because birth dates have gone by since Sarah went missing. Tyrone Mormon transported Sarah from 18080 North US Highway 441, Reddick, Florida, and the registered vehicle owned by his roommate, Shayla Richardson, where they also have common children together, Shayla and Tyrone. Tyrone Mormon transported Sarah, and she has never been seen from again since. Now, a filing was done on October 7, 2025, and was approved by Judge Brad King on October 20, 2025 for a presumptive death certificate for Sara Gail Ebersole, making her date of death March 3rd, 2023 at 26 years old. This is not okay. Her sister has not been located. Her remains, body or her, have not been located. Marion County is given out. They have a 4 a.m. timeline of Tyrone Mormon traveling. Sarah supposedly was with him, surveillance at some 24-hour convenience store. I have not seen this information. This is what Marion County Sheriff has put out to the public as Tyrone Mormon being the person of interest. Tyrone Mormon has been listed as uncooperative person of interest by the Marion County Sheriff. Tyrone Mormon did not willfully give up his cell phone. Tyrone Mormon had to have a warrant before he turned over a cell phone he claimed was broken and trashed, and he had gotten rid of it. What happened with Sara Gail Ebersole? Did my sister get trafficked, as people think online? Was my sister drugged, OD'd, and dumped like people think online? Was my sister taken and unalived, as people think online? My sister taken and held hostage and held somewhere alive, like online? How would we know? Judge Brad King is not a doctor. Detective Jerry that signed a letter to an attorney's office out of Sarasota, Florida, is not a doctor. That said presumptive death because just so much time had passed and there had been no livelihood of Sarah, meaning no account usage, no bank activity, things like that. That information was twisted and a death certificate was received by someone that's not a family member to my family. Sara Gail Ebersole matters. Details, the breadcrumbs of this case matter. In Marion County, we're seeing many details. Digital details, physical details, and evidence. That is not okay. I have physically been shut up by a cyber restraining for only talking about particular individuals that I believe are relevant. This is not okay. Sara Gail Ebersole matters. She was a young mother. She had a lot of life ahead of her. And I will not stop until there's justice for my sister. Sara Gail Ebersole will not end with a death certificate with a representative that is not family. Thank you.
And there you have it, folks.
Not even 3 years. Not even 3 years. And they say, okay, she's dead. And they've done nothing about it. What does Marion County have to say about that?
It's sad. It's sad. And they have a post from March 3rd of this year, which in my opinion is to save face. And we all know that I have my opinions about them. This is Marion County Sheriff's Office. Where did Mormon take Sarah? On March 2nd, 2023, Sarah was given a ride from a convenience store to a residence at 18080 North US Highway 441 in Reddick. She and James Robinson were dropped off there. Sarah spent part of the night with Mr. Robinson, who lived 1.5 of the subdivided residence, and James Scheller and Tisha McDermott, a couple residing in the other half. Around 1:24 a.m. on March the 3rd, 2023, Robinson began texting Tyrone Mormon mentioning Sarah's hanging out at his home. During this exchange, Mormon asked Robinson if Sarah would be interested in spending some time with him and if he could come to Robinson's residence, to which Robinson agreed. Mormon arrived at Robinson's home that morning in a blue 2017 Hyundai Sonata and left around 4 a.m. with Sarah. During the investigation, Detective Scythe discovered information suggesting Mormon and Sarah were at a 24-hour convenience store in the northwest part of Marion County in the early morning hours of March the 3rd, 2023. Mormon is considered a person of interest in Sarah's disappearance and has declined to speak with detectives. Someone knows where Mormon took Sarah. If you have any information, even if it seems insignificant, please call and let us know. It could be the missing piece. If you have any information, please call Detective Ryan Smith at 352-368-3542 or Marion County Sheriff's non-emergency number at 352-732-9111. To remain anonymous, you can also call Crime Stoppers in Marion County at 352-368-STOP and reference 23-71 in your tips. And she is a beautiful girl. Absolutely just breathtaking. Those blue eyes just cut to the soul. And she's a coffee lover. She had me at coffee lover. This is the original missing flyer that Marion County put out as a media release. And then this is the person of interest in her case. This is public information from a Facebook. You can see here, this is not anything that I'm sharing that has not been made public. This link will also be included in the description as well. Pull down my second screen so you guys don't have to look at my Bigfoot. I do have her an updated flyer made as well, and I did correct the typo on there. I apologize to anybody that shared that original flyer. But I will have the corrected one on my community wall as well. It is on my Facebook page. It has been corrected, and I'll get my Twitter corrected as well. And of course, the Discord will also be updated and corrected as well with the correct flyer in there, because I don't want a misprint, mistype flyer to be spread. We're all human, simple mistakes, but as I said, when I saw the flyer that was circulating for her by another alleged missing persons group, it made my stomach turn, and I can't share their flyers, so I made my own with some updated photos that I believe are beautiful photos of her. Kyle, did you have anything you wanted to add this evening?
I think just one last thing. I think it's only right to talk about the fact that, let me turn my screen on. The fact that there is documented proof that Marion County Sheriff's Office let the public believe that they had filed or had declared her dead in 2023 when they never did. And with the update that I just did, it shows clearly in the record that they never declared her dead. They never put on the record. They never did anything through the court. So the fact that they just let people believe that they had declared her dead for 2 years before actually going through with this expedited probate hearing is a little concerning to me as well. Only for the fact is, why would you let for 2 years, almost 3 years, a narrative run that you had already declared somebody dead, only to not, and then do it in 2025 unless you just weren't trying to investigate? So that's something that really needed to be talked about as well.
Absolutely. I don't feel like they did any kind of investigation to amount to anything enough to cover their asses.
No, they really didn't. And I mean, I have sources who have told me that their evidence or their exhibit drops for evidence for the expedited case were not anything that the court would be. I'm sorry, that the court would use for actual evidence. I won't speak on specifics, but just know that what I saw, that it's not anything that would give the perception of perceived peril to where they could expedite it that fast.
Okay, Taylor. Yeah, you'll definitely want to rewatch this one. This is a good case to bring some awareness on. It was brought to me by Kyle, and then I've had a couple people on TikTok that have brought me her case as well. So I felt like tonight was a good night to cover her on our YouTube live Sundays, because I have moved the majority of my content over to TikTok other than my shorts. So I try to keep the Sundays for the lives over here, and of course we still will do decompression lives when needed over here, but definitely wanted to get a live out over here because I don't have to filter over here. I can have my guests up, we can share the screens, we can do all the things and bring up opinions and share facts and all the things without having to feel filtered.
Yeah, because YouTube doesn't care what we say here.
Yeah, and I'm not monetized, so what are they going to do?
Exactly.
They can't do anything.
Nothing.
They already took my monetization. What are they going to do? Take my birthday? Take it, please. I don't want any more.
Take it away. All right. Well, I've said everything I needed to say. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming up and sharing all your amazing information, and I'll include everything in the description on here. I'll grab your Facebook and make sure I put that on here too, and that way we can drive some traffic over to your page. You do amazing things. Your reporting that you do is phenomenal, and I want to make sure that people are able to go and find that fact-based information all in one place. And
thank you.
I definitely appreciate you taking out your time to come over here, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again on a different case and ruffle some feathers.
Absolutely. And if anybody watching loves weird history, government declassified files told on video, go to Uncovered Investigates at YouTube. You'll find it all there. Stories from the Vault, Kyle Fields.
Roger, Dr. Pork Chop. Y'all got it there.
I think that was the best plug I've ever done for myself. I'm proud.
Hey, I am all about shameless plugs over here.
What? All right. Well, I am out of here. You guys have a good rest of your night. I will talk to you later on Messenger.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Absolutely.
Oh, y'all know I don't like to be big like that. It makes me feel all weirded out. Hang on, I'll fix it in a second. I'm going to pull her flyer up. I fixed the typo on it. I didn't even realize that. It happens to the best of us. I just want to say that if you're on Replay Crew, or if you were here in the live and you want access to those links that we did speak on tonight, definitely make sure that you do hit up the description. All of those links will be included in the description. You are fine, Paula. I'm so good to see you, honey. Thank you for popping in. This is Sara Ebersole. She's missing out of Ocala, Florida. She's been missing since March the 3rd, 2023. As we heard tonight, she has been presumed deceased, but she is still missing. So any tips or information, please send those to the Marion County Sheriff's Office. All that information will be located on her flyer, and also I will put it in the description as well for those tips to be able to be sent over. She is a female. She was age 26 at the time of her missing. She's 29, raised roughly 120 pounds, 5'1", blonde hair, blue eyes. She was last seen wearing a black sweater, light colored shirt with sequins, black pants, or a skirt. A tattoo of Kokopelli on her lower right hip. The Kokopelli that is on the flyer is not a picture of the tattoo. It is a photo for reference. The flyer also includes the information directly from the Marion County Sheriff's Office on there. You guys know that when I make flyers, the information either comes from family or law enforcement. I'm very specific about sharing only information that has been vetted through sources. Of course, she is here out of Florida, and we have so many missing people down here. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday evening to come hear Sarah's story and, listen to our wonderful guests tonight. Tonight we had ChatGPT, also known as In a Pickle on TikTok. We had Energizer on panel, and of course we had Kyle, and Kyle is phenomenally amazing. I will include all their links on the description of the video, guys. As always, remember that if you see something, say something. It takes a village to raise a child. We never give up. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side.